put all the ballots and you flip every one of them under a camera so anybody at home could see the ballots, both sides. They could even make their own tally at that point. Then you put the ballots through the machine. And all of this is, I've seen it. You've got cameras all above
you, cameras everywhere.
Anybody can watch.
No sleight of hand.
And then after that, you do both sides again to prove that the ballots that came out are the ones that were before. Now, what I really thought was particularly clever of you is not only have you got the 3 cameras watching the machine, the post, but you've got a stool sitting just as close as I am to Kim Yater now. And the public is allowed to sit there and watch with their eyes.
That was crazy. The walls are taken down. The fences are taken down. That's huge.
So it's encouraged to come and watch.
And when you walk into the building, the ROV building downtown, it's like very welcoming. Yes. Please come in, everybody. Yes. Please come sit down right here and watch us do everything.
Yes, hold us accountable. Make sure everything is above and beyond reproach.
So if you don't trust the video, if you don't trust the streaming, come down yourself and watch. So it's not only is it doing the due diligence to make sure the machines aren't messing anything up, it's also fully transparent.
Follow faithandfreedom.live on Rumble for 24/7 faith and freedom content. Break free from deception 24/7. Follow us at faithandfreedom.live.
Hello, I'm Jordan, and this is my brother. And I'm Nace, and we're at the Grid Down Chowdown. And this is Larry, who is a local rancher that we've partnered with. Now, Larry, you've been ranching for over 4 generations, is that correct?
That's correct. I'm 3rd generation, my son's 4th generation, and I've got some grandkids that are 5th generation.
Man, that's awesome.
We've been here for quite a while, yeah.
All right, now, Larry, your cattle is grass-fed, grass-finished, and pasture-raised, just like God intended them to be.
Yes, because I want to know what's in that animal,
right?
What it's been fed, and so the only way to do that is for us to keep it all natural, just like God has done it for years and years and years, thousands of years.
How has partnering up with us helped you and your ranch?
Well, it's allowed us to develop a market that we didn't have before, one that can get directly to the consumer, and that's great.
And just remember, more importantly, with every package that you buy, we put a salvation track in there. So from the bottom of our...
Welcome to the Take Your Power Back Show with Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yater. Today's empowering program will encourage you to step into your power, to take action in your leadership, and allow your voice to be heard. Listen in today as we speak to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be inspired. Be encouraged. Be transformed. Together, let's take your power back with our host, Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach, Kim Yater.
Well, hello, my freedom-loving patriots. Welcome to the Take Your Power Back Show. I'm your host, Peak Performance Master Coach Kim Yater, and I am here today in studio in Shasta County, California, with 2 very special guests that are here to highlight election transparency and election reform. And let me tell you, we the people in this great state are taking our California back. And right beside me is ROV Clint Curtis. So he is the clerk of Shasta County. Clint, welcome to the Take Your Power Back Show.
Glad to be here.
It's an honor to have you. And on the other side of me is election integrity expert in 48 states, Dr. Douglas G. Frank. Doug, welcome to the Take Your Power Back Show.
Good to be here. I'm looking forward to this.
I am squeezed in the middle of 2 warriors today. This is absolutely amazing. And the topic today is election transparency and election reform. We kicked off the Take Our California Back movement. We started with the Governor Showdown in Southern California, highlighting 13 gubernatorial candidates who were standing to take our California back. And we met behind the scenes and said, guys, we've got to take our elections back. How can we do that? How can we ensure that the people's vote and voice are heard? Because we know there is an issue when it comes to the people's vote and voice being heard. We're going to have that discussion today. Now, we said we can't sit in our laurels. We can't just talk about it. We are committed to taking action. So here's what we did. We phoned home. Do you ever phone home? We phoned home, and home was Shasta County. This was the epicenter. This was where election transparency was taking place. Clint, you have led the pack in election transparency. You have set the stage for what is possible in the state of California. Before we go into what that looks like, I want to give our listeners a little bit of a history and background as to who you are and your role when it comes to election transparency. So tell us a little bit about you, Clint.
Well, I've been doing this for 25 years. I started out, I was the prototyper for the very first electronic voting machine. So I wrote the code for it, and I was asked by a Republican at the time who wanted electronic voting machines. They didn't exist. But one of the requests was, is there some code we can put in there that can flip elections to who we decide them to go to, and no one can see it? Well, that's of course a yes, no. It depends on how much visibility you have. It's not going to show from somebody on the surface. If you dig down and it's not hidden properly, then you could probably find it. So I testified before Congress, and I've been telling people for 25 years that, we shouldn't be using these computers because we can't trust them. We don't know what's actually in there. And essentially, instead of making it more transparent so you can actually see what's in there, they've made it so you can't get anywhere near. Everything is locked away. Everything is secured. And so the politicians and the bureaucrats are the ones who run the elections, and we don't happen to have any control over them.
Wow. So Clint, you are the one. You were the culprit that created the code. He's the one. And you had no idea that they would use that against you, that they would manipulate the elections using your God-given talent and your creation. What was that like for you?
I'm a little naive, aren't I?
Well, Doug and I like to say we look at life through rose-colored glasses. I think that's all three of us.
I gave them the ability to basically choose whoever they wanted to knock out the farm team so they could have whoever comes up, so they could essentially do anything they wanted to. And I thought they'd be noble enough not to do that. So
You were just showing it was possible.
Right. And that it shouldn't be done.
Right. Now, I've seen your testimony on the YouTube channel from 2004. You were actually in Ohio court, I think, at the time.
Yes, we were. It's a congressional hearing in Ohio.
Yeah.
Because the Republicans wouldn't give them a room to have it in D.C., so they had to move it to Ohio.
Oh,
Gotcha.
Isn't that a little interesting?
Yeah.
All right, Doug, we're going to come back to this. Let's traverse just for a moment. Doug,
Yeah.
Dr. Douglas G. Frank, Doug Frank, tell us a little bit about you and your background and the key role you play in election reform.
So people know me as Dr. Frank because I'm a scientist, kind of like Doc Brown in Back to the Future. I'm one of those wacky, my hair isn't quite as messy, and what little of it I have left. But yes, so Doc Brown, people call me Dr. Frank. Or in California, the LA Times calls me the Johnny Appleseed of election integrity because they wrote an article, meet the man trying to upend voting starting in California. So I'm trying to help reform elections in California. And I've been doing that all around the country now, 48 states. What happened is after the 2020 election, the state of Pennsylvania invited me in to be part of their team to do the audit that Doug Mastriano requested. And then after that, Mr. Lindell discovered my work. He made a documentary about it called Scientific Proof. And then people in California invited me in and were part of this big deal. So I've been in 48 states all over the country now for about 5 years, almost every day of my life, fighting for election reform in the country. And we can talk about what's wrong with our elections.
Well, let's do
that. And we can talk about why what Clint is doing is, why he's doing so important, and why we chose Shasta to kind of launch. It's not the launch. You already did launch the Take Our California back at the
Yes.
And that was a
But we
great
knew,
event.
and we knew that Shasta was the linchpin. It was the key ingredient.
Epicenter, baby.
Epicenter. So I
Yeah.
mean, and then the question was, could we duplicate what Shasta was doing across the entire state, in every city, in every county?
Right.
So let's take a look at what Shasta is actually doing. So we just yesterday we had a 3-event day.
It was a great tour.
It was so good.
It was a great day.
Yeah, we've had info coming in for those that got to watch the live of the impact, and like, you've got to get this out across the entire state. And we all know what happens in California is going to impact the nation. And we are on the heels of President Trump saying paper ballot, one-day voting, right?
Yeah.
Like stopping the use of the machines. And why are we stopping the use of the machines? Right back to you, Clint Curtis. What's the problem with the use of the machines again?
You cannot possibly trust them or check them. And a lot of people say we use machines in banks. We use machines in banks, but you actually can check them because if your money is not being handled properly. If you go to the ATM and you want $500 and it gives you $300, that there's a problem. With elections, it's not about a single particular procedure. It's about the whole thing. So it's about how it's total. And that's something you can never see in the machine.
I always tell people, you don't trust machines, because when I go to the bank, I count out money right in front of the teller by hand. And then she picks up the money for me and counts it back in front of me. Then she puts it in a machine. In other words, we don't trust it either, right? We want to see with our own hands.
That's right.
Now, I got to hand it to you, Clint. You've put together, yesterday's tour was really exciting, by the way. And folks, if you haven't seen, you need to see it. Go to Take Your Power.
Go to takeourcaliforniaback.com. You're going to be able to see the actual tour there. So let's set the stage.
That was, yes, that's important.
We were in Shasta ROV.
Yes.
So Clint Curtis opened up the doors for us, and the entire ROV department there was amazing, or the Shasta ROV, right?
Mm-hmm. He took us on a tour.
A tour, like that is open to the public. So the public joined in on that tour. So we got our eyes on what was actually possible with election transparency and election reform. So we're going to talk through that. And then we went into a press conference following that. Yeah. Later, we had a governor forum debate. Clint spoke for a bit, Doug spoke for a bit, but let's talk first. Let's piggyback off of what we just got from Clint, the problem with the machines.
Yes.
Doug, what's the problem with our elections?
Well, the machines are just part of the problem. The problem, if you want the core problem is that the elections are centrally controlled. For example, I trust Clint. I want him in charge of our elections. People in Shasta County, hey, Clint, would you please run our elections for us? But the state has taken away much of the control. It's centrally controlled. The problem with central control is it's also centrally accessible, centrally manipulatable. So Clint has done to compensate for some of that, and we can talk more about this. He's put in all these safeguards, we should go over in a minute. But really, the core solution is to bring back control to the local person. In the meantime, he is addressing some of the symptoms. The core problem is it's not central control. The second problem, huge problem in California, is your voter rolls are just ridiculously dirty, which, by the way, would also not be a problem if local ROVs were in charge of their ROV is Register of Voters. If Clint was in charge of his own voter rolls, that wouldn't be a problem either. And in California, that's a particularly egregious problem because about a third of the people in the voter rolls shouldn't be there. We call that dirty voter rolls. Mm-hmm. And why? What do you mean they shouldn't be there, Dr. Frank? Well, they're not a citizen. They don't live here anymore. They're dead. They're not people who should be in the rolls. Mm-hmm. And you might say, well, who cares? So what if the voter rolls are dirty? The reason why it's important is because in California, you mail a ballot to everybody in the voter rolls. So if 1 in 3 don't belong there, think about it. Every 2 ballots you mail out to real voters, 1 ballot's going who knows where. And anybody who wants to cheat, all they got to do is go scrape up a few of those ballots that are floating around. I call it littering the pavement with ballots. Mm-hmm. So then you end up with 2 problems. It's like really 2 halves of the problem. What Clint does at the office when he processes those ballots and doesn't trust the machines, and we're going to talk more about that, I know. He's got all these good safeguards about transparency and not. But we also have a problem What about the ballots that are coming in? Are they the real ballots or not? And that's a big problem. And I always show people this example. I say it doesn't matter how many times you count the cash in the register. Matters how many of the bills are counterfeit. And so, you know, Clint's doing a brilliant job making sure that the machines aren't cheating. And we're going to talk about that. But we also have to pay attention to, wait a minute, which ballots are coming in and being counted. So that's the other half. And so I think that area still needs work, but Clint's done everything he can on that half of the problem. And I know he's got some work going on the first front of that too. So anyway, it's a two-sided problem.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well said, well said.
Yeah.
Clint, take us through the journey yesterday, because we knew there was a problem. Doug has been educating on this, Dr. Frank, for quite some time. I mean, there are teams in the state of California. We started way back with Take Our Elections Back.
Yeah.
We were canvassing the counties, exposing the election fraud, dead people voting. And I was ignited because in 2020, my vote was stolen. They told me I had already voted. Right? They told my husband and I, and the couple before us. So that was the awakening for me. I knew we didn't vote.
Pause right there. That's
Okay.
really important, Kim.
Let's talk about that.
She goes to the polls.
Yes.
She walks in to vote, and the people in front of her in line
Yes.
are told, sorry, you don't need to vote. You've already voted. What? And then she and her husband get up and they say, you're good to go. You've already voted. In other words, somebody already stuffed a ballot using these people's names so that when they show up to vote, their vote's not going to count. That's important. So that kind of alerted you that this is a real problem. It's not just Dr. Frank the wackadoodle.
Yes,
it's
no.
a legitimate problem.
Yes, and then I moved forward at the moment of Choose Summit. I began to see,
Yeah.
you know, the irregularities. I began to understand that our elections were being stolen. And that was huge for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, that happened on my watch.
Yeah.
If I can do something about it, I'm going to. And that was the beginning of me getting the word out there, right?
Yep.
All right, so here we were. You know, not only was it Doug and myself joining you, you had the Shasta community joining you in the ROV office for this walkthrough. And you had you had 6 of the California governor candidates who joined. 5 of them have joined our team. The 6th one was someone who just showed up. We just found out he's running for governor, right? But these guys were like, you know what? We are standing in the gap. We're putting a stake in the ground. We want to know what Shasta is doing. We want to get the learnings, because when we are in office, we want to make sure we're implementing what Shasta County is implementing. So they wanted to get their eyes on it, and boy, were their eyes open. Why don't you walk us through that experience at the ROV? We might pipe in a little bit, but tell us about that experience.
That was a great tour. Tell us.
It was awesome.
Well, there's a lot of areas you have to pay attention to. You have to pay attention to chain of custody, but we'll get back to that one because that's one that's, you know, a little easier to take care of. The other problem is the machines. You can't trust them, right? So what we have set up is we've set up where where you actually have 3 people running the machines. One of them counts every ballot, actually thumbs through every ballot on screen, front and back, so you see every vote before it ever touches the machine. What that does is neuter the machine. It can't cheat you. If it does, you catch it. And that's another important feature is you got to actually watch the video and test a few things, because if you don't, you're really not doing anything. I just have a little toy there. It goes through the machine. The machine still has to count because Shasta County got rid of their machines and said, we're going to do a hand count. And the ROV at the time and the assistant ROV went down to Sacramento and got them to pass a special law just for Shasta County that now you have to use machines. You cannot hand count, even though they could have hand counted.
Okay, so originally you were able to, you were moving into kind of a paper ballot idea, right?
Yes, with hand counting.
With hand counting, right? But they came down on you, passed that law, and said, nope, you can't do that. You have to have a machine. And you didn't say, okay, we're going to pull in these other machines. You did a basic tabulator, correct?
Right.
Now, the thing is, a tabulator can still be intercepted, right?
It can still cheat. Yeah.
It can still cheat. So what did you do? You still obeyed the law.
Right.
And what did you do to ensure that that vote was seen from the beginning to the end?
Right.
That chain of custody, we could see it.
Right. And it's all live streamed.
Yes.
And it's all recorded.
Yes.
So people can download it and they can watch it while it's happening. So no ballot goes gets counted without the actual citizens being able to see everything that's happening. Then at the end, we go through the whole process and flip it again so everybody can match it. And a lot of people go, why do you need to do that twice? You need to do the second one and compare to the first flip through of the accounts, because the second one actually becomes the ballot of record. So if I have given you a video and I do make something happen to the machine, because as a programmer, I own the machine, I can make anything happen. I can send out whatever I want to, I can reprint things, whatever's in there, I can make it happen. Because you don't really know what's in the machine. You just know what you're told is doing it.
Right.
So, and geeks, we can do it all. So you can't trust it.
So that's the whole backdoor thing, right? Let's just go back to that for a second.
Yeah.
As a geek, as a computer tech, right?
Yeah.
You've got to always have a back door
Yes.
that ensures that you can get in there to fix whatever needs to be
Programmers
fixed.
always give themselves backdoors.
Right.
Have to have a back door.
Absolutely.
So these machines all have a back door, which means somebody on the outside
Yes.
can have access into
Yes.
the entire voting system.
And that's assuming it's just in your program you have a back door, because if you get down to a system level,
Hardware level.
the hardware level, or even, the driver level, all the other levels, if you can get in any of those, you can sometimes just take control of the machine and
Yep.
you don't even need a back door.
That's
You are
true, too.
in, you do whatever you want to do.
Yep.
And it's not that hard. In fact, there's a lot of studies that actually showed this happening to DOD and CIA and all. China's pretty tough. But anyway, you count those again, and that way your ballot of record can be compared to your first video. So now you have your video before it ever touches the machine, and you have the video after. Essentially what happens is the machine better count right. Because if it doesn't, whether it's the vendor manipulating it, somebody else, if it's just an error. We had errors in Santa Clara County on the Dominion machines that were messing up all the time. And no one would have known if it hadn't been a whistleblower that came forward. And he basically told on them. And suddenly they're, oh yeah, we caught it, we fixed it, but they didn't tell anybody. What if they didn't fix it and they didn't tell anybody? Then it's still going to count incorrect, and they have no way of balancing it. You have no way of going back to that.
Let's review. You bring the ballots over after you've maintained chain of custody. You put all the ballots and you flip every one of them under a camera so anybody at home could see the ballots, both sides. They could even make their own tally at that point. Then you put the ballots through the machine.
Correct.
And all of this is, I've seen it. You've got cameras all
about
above.
you, cameras everywhere.
Anybody
no
can watch.
sleight of hand.
And then after that, you do both sides again to prove that the ballots that came out are the ones that were before. Now, what I really thought was particularly clever of you is not only have you got the three cameras watching the machine, the post, but you've got a stool sitting just as close as I am to Kim Yater now. And the public is allowed to sit there and watch with their eyes.
That was crazy. The walls are taken down. The fences
Yeah.
are taken down. That's huge.
So it's
encouraged to come and watch.
And when you walk into the building, the ROV building downtown, it's like very welcoming.
Yes.
Please come in, everybody.
Yes.
Please come sit down right here and watch us do everything.
Yes, hold us accountable. Make sure everything is above and beyond reproach.
So if you don't trust the video, if you don't trust the
Yes.
streaming, come down yourself and watch. So it's not only is it doing the due diligence to make sure the machines aren't messing anything up, it's also fully transparent. I can't imagine how you could make it more transparent than that. That's really, it's a good process.
If we can think of a way, we'll make it that way.
That's
I
right.
love it. I love it. Now, when we were doing the walkthrough, the governor candidates had so many great questions, and everybody has got to see that piece. You've got to see our walkthrough. You can go to takeourcaliforniaback.com. You'll get the details, what it looked like. I mean, it was amazing. It was like we were in a whole new world. It was so welcoming, and it was so transparent. For those of us that have been dealing with all of just the deceit and the lies and the fraud across the country, to have that transparency was literally this feeling of just, I don't want to say safety and security, but I want to say that feeling of, oh, thank you, God, for truth. Right. So now there was a time we were in that walkthrough, and at the back of the room, you had all these buckets set up.
Yeah.
And those buckets were set up for all of the mail-in votes.
Right.
Correct?
There's a whole big process involved with mail-in. that if we didn't have mail-in, that whole side of the building wouldn't have had been there. And it's strictly for mail-in ballots.
So what would, now, can the mail-in ballots go through that same exact process where you open it up, they go through that same process, right?
Everything's under camera again?
Everything, but 4 angles. 4 angles under camera. You sort them by sub precinct. There's like 4 or 5 precincts in each one because, you know, there's more than 12 trays, so you have to divide it up. And then it takes a picture of the signature, and then we can compare that signature to the signatures we have on file. And that's a signature verification process. Once we find the ones, well, actually we look for the ones we don't approve, and those get pulled out and put in a different container, and they're all completely transparent, and they have 4 physical seals in each corner. So you can't move a ballot in my office 3 feet without it being locked up, logged, and sealed. And so you do all that. Once they are approved, they then go back to another container, which they're sorted into, which are more
I noticed those bins were transparent as well.
Yes,
so
everything was clear and see-through.
So exactly.
Yes.
So you're sorting them into buckets, but you can actually see what's in the bucket too.
Yes, absolutely. It's clear.
You mean nothing was hidden under tables?
Nothing, nowhere. Yeah.
Or coming in through the back door.
I did notice even your shelves were wire shelves. There were no solid shelves anywhere.
Yeah,
I
that
noticed
was
that.
amazing
I noticed
to
that.
see.
And no walls in the back, so
No.
they
Right.
banged into a pipe instead. So
And anybody can walk into that room anytime and watch.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, is everything is transparent. If I remember right, your former ROV actually built a fence around the building.
They had a spiked wall. I guess it's a fence, but you know, it had spikes on the top to separate the observers from actually anything that's being done.
Yeah.
And then they were doing things in basically closed rooms, and it was just terrible. And they were very mean to the public.
And I have to just say, because as a guy who's traveled the whole country, I've seen all over the country, that is the norm.
Yeah.
Most places are locking the public out and everything is behind closed doors. Just trust us. You're saying, come on in, guys. Look at anything you want. Everything we do is transparent and digitally recorded. So if you're working that day and you can't see, fine, watch the video that night. Everybody can do their own. Everything is transparent.
So
no one should need to trust the RV.
Right.
In fact, as a finisher to the whole thing, where I have everything locked down and we have it so you can see everything, I could still cheat it if I wanted to.
Of course, yes.
Because, you know, we do the pickups and I could go back there and do things and not monitor like I should. So I actually have installed a policy where I take a polygraph after every election to say, I didn't do anything, and I made sure no one else did either.
I've never heard of that before.
That's amazing.
I have to say that. I have to just repeat that. You have said, because of your position, you have the ability to still cheat.
Right.
So you're going to take a polygraph after every election to swear to your own public. Not only are you inviting them in to watch everything, but just in case you were clever, you're going to take a polygraph afterwards to prove to everybody that you didn't lie.
Correct.
Thank you for that. That's amazing. It's preposterously transparent.
What would happen if every single ROV throughout the state actually did what you were doing? What would we begin to see if they were implementing what Shasta is implementing?
You probably get to see real elections for a change, and you wouldn't see these weird things happening, and the public would no longer be angry. Because in Shasta, they were really angry. They had in the election before me, they had 6 security guards and 2 cops just to handle the public.
Wow.
In our election, we had no security guards. We didn't have one in the building, and never had a problem.
Because people are welcomed in.
And they can see everything.
Yeah. So nothing to hide.
Yeah. What do they complain about?
There's another really important thing about this. So you've been quite creative and persistent in your trying to be transparent, and everything's locked down and videoed and everything. I really like that. But there's something the state doesn't like that. And this is going where Kim's question was going. The state's saying, no, we want you to do it our way. So they actually sent some people up. Tell us about that. They sent people to come check you out. The state did.
Yes, they sent 2 people from the Secretary of State's office and 2 people from the Attorney General's office. And I'm happy to have them.
Of course.
Welcome. We are transparent. Come and see.
They're citizens too.
That's
It's good.
right.
It's good.
Happy to have them there. you know, and they could watch everything and they get around. So they really couldn't come up with anything to argue with me over.
Everything you're doing is legal.
Yeah.
Because it's been scrutinized by the Attorney General's office, by the Secretary of State's office. So then the question becomes, how, if everything you're doing is legal and you secured so much of the election and made it transparent and the public isn't angry anymore, how come all the other counties aren't doing it?
I don't know. But now they can. If they can get in there, they can do it. It's really cheap. The cameras are dirt cheap. You've got $300 in the whole thing on each station.
Yeah.
And so we had 6 stations. So we
you spend $1,800 and you're suddenly all transparent.
Right.
I think that's really what the Take Our California Back movement is all about.
Yes.
And that's why we started in Shasta.
That's right.
Because we brought 6 gubernatorial candidates in, and actually we're doing more of these events so that they see. So then we're out campaigning, they're going to tell everybody, hey, you should see what they're doing in Shasta. We can do this all over the state. And that actually gives us a chance to have an honest election. That's a great deal. So I think a lot of the other ROVs just don't even know that. I mean, you have 58 counties here in California, and 57 of them need to know what you're doing. So that's really what we're about. We're getting the word out. That's why we started here in Shasta.
Yeah.
Well, most of them are not programmers.
Right.
And they're not lawyers.
Yes.
So I kind of had to step up on some of them.
Yeah.
You know, and then if they ask their county council, the county councils are always very not want to push the envelope, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, they always say, you might
they tend to be a little bit afraid of the state. You know, what did Jefferson say? When the people are afraid of the government, that's tyranny. And we're kind of in one of those areas, and the people need to stand up a little bit and say, no, these are our elections. We're taking them back.
We're taking our California back. That's exactly what we're doing.
Exactly.
So, Clint, you were the Lone Ranger. Shasta has been the Lone Ranger in the entire state. Now, there are counties that got wind of what you're doing, and we're working with some of those counties right now very closely. And I'll tell you, these leaders that are part of the Take Our California Back movement are just extraordinary. We're so blessed to have them with us. So we have counties that are so close to moving into that election transparency. But what has it been like for you in the fight to put a stake in the ground, right, as the Lone Ranger of election transparency and election reform?
Films shines with biblical conviction and patriotic courage, free from globalist lies. We empower Christian patriot creators to share faith and liberty. Access thousands of videos on Roku, FireTV, Apple TV, Android, and iOS. Join the battle at faithandfreedom.tv.
Well, I was a litigation attorney, so I like to fight. So I never really minded much, you know, it was okay. I mean, there was a fight, everything I did, there was a pushback. And of course, I have the staff that was there before, and
the staff in the ROV office.
Yeah, and they don't really, you know, like to push the envelope at all, because before they could be as sloppy as they wanted, and nobody could catch them.
There wasn't a camera on everything.
Now it's very precise, you know. And so I had to get on a few of them because, you know, they were trying, well, I'll just put the seals on at the end. No, you put the seals on before you move anything, right?
Yeah.
You stick one envelope in there, it needs to be sealed.
That's the
up.
chain of custody thing you were talking about. Everything that goes anywhere,
That's
everything is protected.
And Shasta had a real problem because they had like terrible chain of custody. I mean, worse than third world countries. I mean, it was horrible. And so they would simply take ballots open, taken out of the envelope, so they're open, stick them on these blue bins, and just put them in this room, which did have a scan lock. But if you look at the logs, hundreds of the entries don't have the name of the person entered.
So you know people came into the rooms, but nobody knows who they are.
Yeah, you have no idea.
And there's no videotape taking pictures of people going into the room.
Up there, no. That's kind of bad. And
that's pretty bad chain of custody.
And then they ended up with 2,700 more votes than voters.
Oops.
That's a problem. And how do you get that? Well, you just put more ballots in there, right?
During the tour yesterday, when you brought up the 2,700, somebody said to you, hey, wait a minute, Mr. ROV, you found a discrepancy like that? How come it hasn't been prosecuted?
That's right.
And that was a big deal. And you guys can hear that kind of, it was just a little heated even. How do you respond to that when somebody says, well, wait a minute, you found a problem. What did you do about it?
I sent information off the DOJ so that they can come in because the ballots are still there. And this was an election they'd really messed up, where they had done duplications of about half the ballots.
Was this the 2024 general?
Yes.
Okay.
And so they were saying, well, there's an overspray. There's an overspray that you can't see with your eyes. So if it's an overspray that the scanner is seeing that you can't, what else can the scanner see that you
Right.
can't? That's the biggest question for me.
Mhm.
Because if they can see an overspray, they can also see instructions to do things.
Yeah.
You know, I can put a little dot in the window. I know where that is. I go, oh, there it is.
This is
what
one of
I
the
wanna do.
things that always bothers me when people say, "Oh, but there's human error when people count." Yeah, there is, of course. But the beautiful thing about it is,
You count it over.
if there's an error, let's just count it over
And then
again.
over again if
Exactly.
you need to.
But when the
Right?
machines make mistakes, boy, they make big mistakes.
Right.
And you just said half, so I'll just use that number. Half of the ballots that you were trying to process in the 2024 general would not scan in the machines because of the overspray.
Mm.
So you talk about accuracy. No, when machines screw up, they screw up big. Okay, when people screw up, we miss one here, we miss one there, but we can recount it.
That's
How do you
right.
know if a machine is
Yes,
screwing up?
yes.
Unless you do something with your hands. So I'm
The
sorry,
biggest issue is you can never know where the machine screwed up.
that's the problem.
That's the problem. So if it's, like I said with the other county, Santa Clara,
Yeah,
if without the whistleblower reporting it, no one would have known
no one would have known.
that they were miscounting
Mm.
almost every ballot,
Wow,
just
Mm.
dropping them, not reading them.
there was no check.
There's no check
Yes,
because there's no way to check
Mm.
unless you do what we do.
Yeah, yeah.
And now you can actually check everything, and the machine can't afford to screw up. And ours didn't. Everything was balanced out perfect.
what election are you talking about where everything balanced perfect?
This one we just did.
So the most recent one.
Yeah.
Which month was that?
This was the November 4th one.
Oh, you got it. The one you just did in
Yes.
2025.
Right.
That's right. It was the 2024 election where we had the overspray problem.
Right.
But your 2025 election with your new system
Perfect.
ran slick as snot, no problem. Everything reconciled perfectly.
Yes. In how many people in your county were you
How
able to
many
do
voters?
this election? How many voters?
120,000.
So you processed 120,000 votes, ballots.
About 65, I think.
Because not everybody votes.
Never-
Okay,
never
that's
vote.
right. That's right. Right.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
not everybody should vote because, like he said,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
number's real?
Yeah.
About a third of the people
Yeah.
in your rolls don't
Yeah.
belong there. Yeah.
And so
And that might be high in Shasta. Maybe it's only a fourth. But on average in the state of California, it's about a third of the voters don't belong there.
But the biggest problem with the voter rolls is we don't have real control over them. We have suggestions. So we will send out the cards, which they don't actually keep a record of what they do. So when they send out the cards, they go into the program and they say this person's card came back and all this. They don't write that down anywhere else.
What Clint is talking about is to check if the voter rolls are good in a county, you mail out postcards to everybody in the county, and a lot of them don't come back. And then when they don't come back, that's why you're saying, hey, that's what we do with the system. I'm just, when you said cards, they're like, what is a card? But I was making sure people knew what you meant by that. This is the postcards.
Speaking of election geek now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We have kind of our own jargon, don't
I love
we?
it. I love it.
When
Yeah.
the cards do come back is the problem because it'll come back as not deliverable as address.
So how come you don't just remove those people from the rolls if it comes back not deliverable?
Because you have to send them another card, and
Ah,
then if
the
it still doesn't come
process.
back, they are marked inactive. And then
But left in the rolls, but marked inactive.
left in the
Interesting.
rolls and marked inactive.
Is that a vote that could be stolen?
Yes, and I have no idea why you would do that. Since there is 1 day registration in California, they don't have to be left on the rolls, and they just come in and they.
What percentage of the inactive are actually on the roll?
I don't know. They didn't keep any records.
Wouldn't that be a good number?
This is what I mean when I say I trust Clint to run his election. I want him in charge of his own poll books, not some central database
Yes.
50 miles from here or 500 miles from here.
But someone should still check them.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong. There should be double checks, triple checks on
Yeah.
everything.
I have no problem
Yeah.
with the state having oversight. I have no problem with DOJ having oversight.
Of course not.
And if you mess it up, you fix it.
And my favorite oversight is when the people have oversight. That's my pet peeve. I want
Yes.
the people to have, and that's what you've enabled, at least on the counting part.
A little harder on the voter rolls.
But we're working on that, aren't we?
We're working on it.
As I've been traveling the country, I've been teaching people, I've been giving them a copy of their voter rolls for their county and saying, hey, let's sort it out and let's provide that information to the ROV. In most states, as in California, the state's made it very difficult for you to clean your own rolls.
Yes.
But at least we know who the real voters are
Mhm.
and who the ones we don't think are the real voters are still there. So when the ballots come in, we could have an alarm list. And wouldn't that be nice? Oh, wait a minute, we just got a ballot from somebody we don't think is a real voter. Maybe we better double check that baby. Maybe that's one of these counterfeits. Maybe we should check that. So anyway, we are working on that side. It's just much more difficult.
Yeah.
Right.
So as we're traveling the state, that's why we're putting so much emphasis on these
Yes.
public events. We're trying to wake the people up. They need to know they're the solution and that they can empower their own RV. In fact,
That's
they
right.
should demand the people. I mean, after all, you do work for the people of Shasta, right?
I do.
And the people in those other counties need to demand from
That's
their
right.
employee, ROV,
right.
that they secure their ballots because it's a civil rights issue. If my ballot's not being protected, then my constitutional rights are being disenfranchised. I have a right to have my vote count.
That's
One
right.
man, one vote.
That's right.
And every fraudulent ballot or every flipped ballot or every miscounted ballot is disenfranchising me from that. So that's why we're so excited about Shasta.
Yes.
It's alive and kicking. The people here are awake.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. And I love what you just said, Doug, because it really is about our vote and our voice being heard, right?
Yeah.
So this is election transparency and election reform at best. So the reality is this is going to hit the entire country. You're the epicenter and we are standing with you, putting a stake in the ground. We did a press release. We put out a press release and we had the conference yesterday. We had the public there and it was awesome.
That was right after the tour.
Right
The
after
tour is
the
like
tour.
what, an hour and a half, 2 hours,
I
something
would
like
say,
that?
yeah, only
2.5
because
hours.
the
2.5 hours,
because-
it says. Yeah.
And because the governor candidates, I mean, these guys,
They
let's
were
just talk
engaged.
about that for a second. Oh my gosh, they were so
I
engaged. What was that like?
impressed. What you don't see this a lot
Yes.
out of people in politics. They usually just they don't take charge. They kind of
Yeah.
sit back and whoever yells at them the most, they do something. These guys are actually engaged. I was impressed.
That's what happened at the showdown when
Yes.
we had it in November.
Yes.
We had 13 of the gubernatorial
Mhm.
candidates on stage, and the next day, a bunch of them came in and said, "Wow, we didn't realize what was going on in the elections. How can we be part of this?" And that's the Take Our California Back movement. Isn't just about the gubernatorial election as much as it's about a group of gubernatorial candidates who are actually engaging
That's right.
election reform.
That's right.
And it's they even in the debates, they're not attacking each other. They're each talking about, hey, I like your idea there. Let's do this over here. They're working together. This is a statewide movement we're promoting, not just one candidate.
Yeah, they're way more important than a candidate for governor.
And they see that, and they really did engage. I also was impressed by they were all asking you questions, totally engaged. And now, as they're going around the state campaigning, guess what? They're going to be spreading the word. So that's that's part of our strategy with the Take Our California Back strategy.
It is amazing to see what these guys are doing. So I'm going to let me just pull this up real quick. So a little bit of a visual for our audience. This was the event we just led here in Shasta. So it was literally a 3-part event. So we did the Shasta walkthrough in the morning, which was awesome, with ROV clerk Clint Curtis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we went on to do the press conference. And from the press conference, we headed to the gubernatorial forum debate. And so we were really able to shed the light what's happening in Shasta. And we got the take on what now that these governor candidates were able to see with their own eyes.
Yes.
They now brought to light what they were going to do about it. And that was huge. We saw complete unity. And that was
On the stage last night.
On the stage last night. It was beautiful. That was 5 of the governor candidates. Now, there were another 5 of those candidates that couldn't be with us
This time.
but they have been educated. We have been showing them.
Yeah.
So they are so excited to see, and some of them already, were part of, watch that press conference online, like some of you today.
Yeah.
So I think that we are in for a treat over the next 4 months. I think we're going to see some radical shifts. We've already gotten feedback from some of the counties that said, hey, this video, what you guys did today needs to be shown all over the state.
Right.
So we're so excited because now you all can access that at takeourcaliforniaback.com. So go there now, go to takeourcaliforniaback.com. Go and watch the video we did at the Shasta County ROV.
Yeah.
And then go take a look at the candidates that are taking a stand for election transparency and election reform. At takeourcaliforniaback.com, you're going to be able to meet them. There's personal interviews. Every single one of them we did a face-off with. So you're going to get the down low of what their real belief system is and how they are putting a stake in the ground for you, giving power back to we, the people. You'll also get a taste of the showdown that was in Carlsbad, in San Marcos, California. In November.
That was a wonderful event.
That was so, and Clint, you were there.
I was there.
You got
I called him out from the
I came
stage.
to watch it.
and all they were like, "Hey, there's Clint." That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That was really special. So I'd like to say that this is the beginning of something really special, but it's the culmination because the work was already laid out by warriors across this entire country. They have put in the hard work, the patriot groups, those that have been standing for election
Yes.
integrity and what we'd like to say, election transparency and election reform. So I'd like to say, what's next?
Well, don't you have, this is a rhetorical
baby.
question.
Yeah, baby.
You alluded to the fact that the next 4 months leading up to the jungle
Yes.
primary, we've got a whole series of events planned. So we're hoping that people will turn out for that.
Yes.
Because, let's just say only the ROV in a county comes and looks at the video or comes to our event. Well, nothing's going to happen.
That's right.
But if 50 citizens came and watched it, came to the event, and then went to the ROV's office the next day and said, "Hey, what's up with our, hey, Clint can do it and it was cheap. What's wrong with you? Let's get going," right? So it's really the people that have to engage.
That's right.
So you've arranged, and the schedule, I'm sure, will be up
Yes,
there on
okay.
Take Your Power in California. I'm sure it's going to
We're
be up
going to
there.
get that schedule is out there at takeourcaliforniaback.com. And
Yeah.
what you're going to find is this. You're going to find on February 16th, we are in San Joaquin. So that's San Joaquin, California. The details are there on the site, the time, the schedule, our governor candidates that are joining us. And you want to hear from them. And you're going to see how we are taking our California back. And then February 23rd, we are in Kern County. And I got to tell you guys, the teams, our Take Our California Back teams, in both of these counties are warriors. They have been
I know these
they have
people.
been working behind the scenes. Many of them on your team.
I've been working with them for several years. The San Joaquin
Yes.
team even worked
Yes.
with the local sheriff, and they got convictions of voter fraud in San Joaquin. It made a Lodi. You can look it up. A city councilman
Come on.
was stuffing ballots, and they caught him. And if the local people hadn't been teaching the sheriff, he wouldn't have even noticed. So
Yes.
this is the result when people wake up and engage. I mean, after all, America is an experiment in self-government. We're supposed to be doing this anyway.
Yes.
I always ask the question when my audiences, as I speak around the country, I ask them, who is responsible for the integrity of our elections? And most of the time they say, oh, the Secretary of State, or, oh, the ROV. No, you're responsible for the integrity of your
That's right.
elections. We,
That's
the
right.
people, are responsible. We are the government. So anyway, so that's how we win. We don't win when one of the ROVs say, oh, good idea. We win when the people say, hey, step up and get the job done. And here's
Come
the
on.
$1,800 you need.
That's right. That's right.
Just
And-
demand it, and it will happen.
Just demand it. I mean, they work for us. From Patriot Force, Urson Russell, he always says, when we talk to our county officials, we're not asking permission.
Mm.
they
That's
work
right. They
for us.
work for us.
That's right.
Now, keep in mind, March 1st, for those of you who are in Southern California, we're in Huntington Beach. That one is going to be huge because
Oh, man.
Huntington Beach is a humdinger of awakened Americans. There are Californians that just love this state. So we want to stay tuned. You can go to takeourcaliforniaback.com. And Clint, I'm going to come back to you for a second. I want you have a heart for the people. You also have a heart for those ROV clerks throughout the entire state. What would be your message to every ROV clerk and county leader, as well as sheriffs throughout our state?
Possibly that if they allow the public to actually own the election as opposed to push them away, that their job will be a whole lot easier. Because pushing them away causes this barrier in this battle. And so, they've had clerks threatened, they had all
Yes.
kinds of stuff going on, but that's because you're hiding it. I have this package I carry around. It's a gold package with ribbons on top of it. And I tell people, this is your election. what's inside of it. Well, if you don't know, whatever's inside of it is whatever's in your head. It's a bomb or it's a puppy. But once you open that up and you can see inside, you now know what's inside and you don't even look anymore. And that's what the election is. Open it up, let the people see what they have.
Elections should be boring.
Elections should be boring.
Exactly.
It's like we don't even need to look. Everybody who is looking, everything is transparent.
Yeah, although I want them to look.
Oh, yes, we do. We do.
Don't want them to get lazy.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and you have a whole bunch of people, and are they mostly volunteers working in the office, or do you pay them?
I pay them. I pay extra help. So we bring them in to knock these things out. And then we
Yeah.
have volunteers in the outside. Supposedly in California, you can use volunteers if you choose to. It's your discretion. But I went ahead and paid them because, why not? It doesn't take that long.
One of the objections I hear around the country is they say, well, Dr. Frank, we can't even get poll watchers to sign up. What makes you think you can get all these volunteers? Well, what I've learned is if you actually let people participate, you have no trouble getting volunteers.
That's right.
And then on top of it, you're paying them.
Right. But yeah, I had 400 people who wanted to volunteer. But
wait a minute, you had 400 people that wanted to volunteer.
That's incredible.
And I hear all over the
How do you
country,
fit them all
you
in
can't
there?
get any volunteers. Oh yeah, make it transparent, allow them to participate. Everybody wants to help.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
who wants to be a volunteer
Yes.
for something that everybody hates?
Yes.
Like standing on the opposite side of a room, staring through binoculars, trying to figure out what they're doing.
Right,
something
right.
Like that. Yeah.
So everybody hates you. Why do you want that?
Yeah.
You can give them what they want. You can show them everything and be
Yes.
nice to them.
Yeah.
I mean, we
They're your customer, actually, after all.
we built a lounge so people could come in, have, eat pizza and sit and come.
Oh my gosh.
It's welcoming when you walk in. Come on in.
So
And
welcoming.
everything is on camera,
Yeah.
Yes.
and we have monitors across the whole ceiling. Looks like NASA.
It was, you guys go see the video. Go see the video.
Yes.
It was the coolest thing ever.
Yes.
TakeOurCaliforniaBack.com. Okay. That's TakeOurCaliforniaBack.com. Go watch that ROV walkthrough in Shasta County. It's going to give you vision. It's funny. One of the things we talked about was the power of vision, right? You've created what's possible, Clint. The Bible says, write the vision, make it plain so that he who reads it may run with it. Another scripture where there's no vision, the people perish. You've created vision. You've shown us what is possible, and it's duplicatable, and it's legal. It's above and beyond.
And it's cheap.
It's fun, and it's cheap, and it's fun.
It's cheap.
It's like, how can you make boring elections fun?
And they'll
You
be-
get to be a part of it.
they'll be hard pressed to actually write laws against it because all through California election code, it says meaningful observation. Of course, they don't give you meaningful observation. So in order to write against what I've done, they're going to have to abandon all that and go, no observation, you're in jail.
Right.
And I think that won't go over.
That won't
Very
fly.
well.
That
Yeah.
won't fly.
Exactly. Okay, Doug, now to you. So I want you to take a look at, the people of this great state. You've done over 110 different events throughout the state of California.
Just California.
Just
I
California
think it's
alone.
over 120
And,
now.
yeah, and you've been in 48 states,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you have a word to the people today. What would that word to the people be, Doug?
I grew up in California.
Mm.
I was in Sonoma County. My parents went to Shasta College, so I feel like I'm coming home when I come to Shasta. But I grew up in Sonoma County, and I remember when California was amazing, and San Francisco was the gem of the West Coast. And I remember how amazing the whole state was. The economy was vibrant. The people were engaged. And what steadily happened over time is people have gotten lazy. And people are saying, well, I'm too busy, making money. I'm too busy doing all these. It's kind of selfish. What's happened is we've forgotten. Imagine if every person in California gave 1 hour per week in civic service. Imagine
1 hour.
if everybody did that, you'd have millions
Yes.
of participatory
Yes.
people.
Yes.
Plato said that the penalty for refusing to get involved in politics is you end up being governed by your inferiors. And what's happened is we've as a culture, we've become kind of selfish and not involved anymore. And so we're letting other people teach our children. We're letting other people running our government. We're letting other people run our elections.
Yes.
And so if I had one thing to say to Californians, I'd say, don't you miss what California used to be? The solution isn't Clint. The solution isn't Sacramento. The solution is you. Take your local action. Take back your local school boards. Take back your local sheriff and your local ROVs. Bring in people who want to serve you. That's the real solution. And that's a cultural shift that you really need to have in California. And I think people are getting, what did General Flynn say? He said the pain level isn't high enough. And so what's happening is as things are getting worse and worse, people are starting to wake up. Welcome.
That's right.
And that's us. So my word to you Californians is things are getting bad, and it seems like things are getting bad pretty fast. Well, are you just going to let it keep going that way? Or are you going to wake up and engage? How about go down and visit your local ROV? Get in a relationship with them. Start asking them questions. Hey, I heard about this thing in Shasta County. How come we're not doing that there? Well, it's all legal, and here's the video. You should watch it. It's cheap. You really have no excuse.
Yes.
And I think if the people of California would do that, what they're doing is exactly what Kim Yater has been telling everybody. Take your power back.
That was what I was going to say. Next.
Exactly. Because, that's the whole point.
Yes.
The people are the power. We, the people, are the government. We just seem to forgot.
That's right.
And so we just need to wake up and re-engage. So that was a long word when you said, what would I say to the people? But that's the idea. Wake up, engage.
Yes, very key. And that leads me to the press release, right? So I want to guide you guys through, because it was exactly what you just mentioned. I want to give you a little taste of the press release that just came out for Take Our California Back. Take Your Power Back show host Kim Yater leads the charge, joined by election integrity expert Dr. Douglas G. Frank and the Take Our California Back leaders from across the state. Together with courageous California governor candidates, this united coalition of proven leaders has officially launched to drive real change in 2026, ending one-party dysfunction, restoring trust in our elections, and reviving the California dream for every family. And just like Doug said, this isn't about left versus right. No. It's about common sense solutions that put families, freedom, prosperity, and election transparency and election reform first. No matter your party or your background, we're reaching Democrats that are tired of bureaucracy, independents seeking practical change, and Republicans ready to fight for the values that made California great. We are united, and I'm telling you, our California gubernatorial candidates that are standing for election transparency and election reform, they're in the fight with us. So it is exciting. And you can find the full press release at takeourcaliforniaback.com. So, gentlemen, I think we've stated what needed to be stated today. I think we've put a stake in the ground that we're committed to taking California back. So with that being said, are there any final words today?
For me,
the solution is transparency and participation.
All right. So we're finishing with that. Clint Curtis, thank you so much for being with us at the Take Your Power Back show. An honor, and we are excited to lock arms with you and duplicate what you've done to every city and every county in the state of California, and I might say nationally as well. And Dr. Douglas G. Frank, an honor to lock arms with you.
Pleasure.
And take this great golden state back. Come on. And to my mighty listeners, our warriors of the Take Your Power Back show, our audience, you have the ability to stand in the gap with us, lock arms with us. We need you. This is about all of us working together to take our California back. We love you. May God bless you. May God bless Shasta. May God bless this country as we the people stand in the gap, and we here in California take our California back. We'll see you on the other side. We're closing out. Good night, everybody. And closing out.
Thank you for joining us for the Take Your Power Back show. As Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yater speaks to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Listen in weekly and learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be encouraged, be inspired, be transformed as you step into your power and take action in your leadership and allow your voice to be heard. Together, let's take your power back. To sponsor and support the Take Your Power Back show, go to takeyourpowerbackshow.com. That's takeyourpowerbackshow.com and take your power back.
Our hearts, we thank you for allowing us to do what we believe that God has us here to do. And just remember, God loves you. He really does.
Transform your health with the power of light. Introducing the future of natural healing. Are you seeking a natural, effective way to enhance your well-being, reduce pain, and accelerate healing? If you're looking for quick fixes or ignoring the importance of natural health solutions, this might not be for you. Backed by years of research and testimonials from health professionals, our quantum energy infrared light harnesses the scientifically proven benefits of red and infrared light therapy. Designed for those who value holistic health practices, our device offers a non-invasive, drug-free method to support your body's natural healing processes. Visit QEstrong.com now to discover how quantum energy can revolutionize your health routine. Experience deeper sleep, enhanced muscle recovery, reduced inflammation, and improved skin health, all with just a few minutes of use each day. Don't miss out on the healing power of quantum energy. Visit QEstrong.com and learn more to take the first step towards a healthier you. Join the thousands who have already discovered the life-changing benefits of quantum energy. It's time to prioritize your health and well-being. Unlock the healing power of light. The quantum effect wipes out pain and allergy symptoms in less than 30 seconds with 0 drugs. Pastor Dave and hundreds of others have experienced the quantum effect for themselves. It's backed by scientific research and rigorous lab testing. Quantum is simply about 2 things. 1, intentions, as a man thinketh so he is, and 2, renewing your mind with the Word of God. Only QE Strong encodes key intentions and Bible verses about healing onto the small patch. You simply place it on your body each day, and with a bonus prayer guide, read out loud a positive intention and 1 or 2 Bible verses about healing each day. The patch provides the touch, and the prayer guide uses your sight, speech, and hearing to relieve pain and allergy symptoms with the senses God gave you. It even works for people who have suffered decades of chronic symptoms. Are you ready to experience the quantum effect?
Go to QEstrong.com and use code FAITH.